If you think Mount Rainier is impressive, then wait until you hear about this 16,000-foot volcano located in northern Arizona. This is Humphreys Peak, the highest point in Arizona and the 11th highest state high point in the country. Rising to an elevation of 12,633 feet just north of the city of Flagstaff, Humphreys Peak is also the highest point in a small mountain range called the San Francisco Peaks. Now, even though Humphreys Peak rises more than 5,000 feet above the surrounding landscape today, it actually used to be considerably more impressive. You see, Humphreys Peak, along with the rest of the San Francisco Peaks, used to compose a single giant stratovolcano called San Francisco Mountain. At its peak about 400,000 years ago, San Francisco Mountain rose somewhere between 14,600 and 16,000 feet above sea level. That would have made it the highest point in what is now the contiguous United States, and it could have risen more than 1,500 feet higher than Mount Rainier stands today. But what happened? Clearly, the mountain doesn't rise to that elevation anymore. Well, sometime between roughly 100,000 years ago and 400,000 years ago, the summit and the entire northeast flank of San Francisco Mountain collapsed, though scientists aren't completely sure why. The most interesting theory is that the mountain suffered a catastrophic lateral eruption, similar to the one that occurred on Mount St. Helens in 1980. In other words, San Francisco Mountain explosively erupted out the side instead of out of the top, causing the mountain to collapse. But as interesting as this theory might be, there's actually no solid evidence that supports it. Another, perhaps more realistic theory is that the collapse of the mountain occurred slowly over time, as the result of a combination of large landslides, water erosion, and glacier scour. But regardless, even though it doesn't stand at 16,000 feet today, Humphreys Peak is still well worth a visit. You can climb the peak via a 10-mile round-trip trail that gains just over 3,000 feet of elevation. And at the summit, you'll be treated to panoramic views of northern Arizona, including the Grand Canyon to the north. Comment below if you've been to Humphreys Peak, and be sure to follow for more geography content.